So many people have asked me about the Whoopi Goldberg situation concerning the Holocaust. In my humble opinion, and as far as history, Whoopi is both right and wrong. First, I'm going to tell you how she's right, then I'll tell you how she's wrong. Now, what Whoopi Goldberg said is that it was an inhumane situation of man against man in its worst form. She said that Jews are not a race. Now, everybody always wants people to understand things from their point of view, but nobody's really looking at it from her point of view. This black woman, and I would dare say most black people in America, are not going to look at the European Jews who suffered during the Holocaust, and I do mean they suffered, it was tragic, that they were of a different race. They were white as far as most black Americans are concerned, and from the American lens. Let us not forget that in America, in the 1930s and earlier, there were only 3 races: Mongoloid, Caucasian, and Negroid. That's it. There was no Jew race on there. If you look at a census data, Jew is not a race on there. And during Jim Crow, Jews were categorized as white in America. So growing up in America from an American lens, she was absolutely correct to say that Jews are not a race. Now, the lens of different people is where she's wrong. As far as Hitler and the Nazis were concerned, the Jews were a race. Just as they said Aryans were a race, but we know Aryan is not a race. Aryan is a subset of Caucasian. In the same way that we think of that today, most people will say a Jewish person who is white, of European descent, is Caucasian. Just like when I was in Israel, I saw a black person who was a Hasidic Jew. He is black, as far as how we determine race in America today. We all know that race is a made-up thing. It changes. It's incredibly fluid. But the Germans did categorize them as a race during that time frame and was exterminating a race in their mindset. So she was wrong to say it in the perspective of an American sense when the Germans thought of it differently. But here's the thing, people. We get all twisted up into what somebody says because it goes against something that we think. I saw a rabbi who tried to explain that Hebrew is the race. How can Hebrew be a race when Hebrew is more of a tribe that left from the Sumerians and separated themselves, which is what makes up tribes or people groups? But it's still not a race. The biology of race is a man-made construct. There is but one race on this planet as far as we are concerned, and that is the human race. But we will do everything to separate ourselves.